The J. Michael Show.
Welcome to episode 41. My guest today is Haven Victoria. She's a 17-year-old up-and-coming indie musician, and she has some beautiful, beautiful music that you might even get a taste of some of it on the show today. So let's say hello to Haven. Hi, Haven.
Hi.
Haven.
How are you?
I'm good. Where do you live, Haven?
I am based in Frisco, Texas.
Frisco, Texas. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in Waco, so I'm trying to think of where is Frisco? Is that up north?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're
It's
up
in the
around,
Dallas area.
yeah, you're in the Dallas area, Fort Worth. Okay. Cool. Well, just for a moment, for our audience, describe what kind of music do you write?
Well, really, I feel like it's kind of a mix between all of my songs are a little different, but to kind of put it all together, I would say it's a little folky, it's a little indie, and it's got some country in there. And then every now and then there's a little bit of pop, so it's kind of all over the place, but I guess that's the best description I can give.
Which genre do you prefer? Country, folk, pop?
I would say I prefer folk the most just because I feel like it's a little more different, but it's a lot more calming than like country or pop. And I feel like that kind of describes me better, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And you said that in your bio that you're kind of a storyteller with your songs. Tell me about stories in your songs.
Well, a lot of my stories base around like real stuff that happened, and I just always try my best to explain them through songwriting
Mm-hmm.
and really try to paint the best picture that I can with my lyrics and with the instrumentation. So I'm always trying hard to make sure there is a story being told and it's not just me saying a bunch of words that kind of go together, but it's not really giving you anything. Like,
Right.
I really enjoy it when people get to listen to a song and they have to listen to it a couple of times to understand the meaning. And each time they listen to it, they discover something new about the story.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an audience favorite that is always requested?
Well, with my originals, I would say the song Like a Child, that's the fourth song in the EP that's out right now, is starting to be a favorite amongst a lot of people that want to give their opinion on my songs. They always are saying they really like a Child. So I definitely would say that's probably a fan favorite.
Okay. All right. And you said that you have an EP. Do you have a CD also?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
Just the EP of the 5 songs online. So.
And where at online would we find those songs?
They are on all streaming services. They're on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora. I'm sure if you look it up on any streaming service you're on, you'll find it. Thankfully.
Uh-huh. Well, can we hear a little of Like a Child? Can you play a minute or so of that?
Yes, of course. I will play the first verse and chorus for you. Something has changed since that fun holiday May. Never managed to feel quite the same. The old grass feels so overgrown. Now I have a fear of being left all alone. I cut out your face and the pictures of my room, 'cause I can't seem to handle something like the sight of you. Looking back now just makes me feel bad, 'cause I'm reminded how it ended just like that. And I should listen to you instead of my head. Heard everything that you said. I should listen to you instead of my heart, baby, then it wouldn't have felt so bad. Fell apart.
Well, an online connection doesn't do it justice, but we could tell that that was a beautiful song. But
Thank you.
you also do covers, right? What songs do you cover?
I love to cover stuff from the 70s and 80s. I am a huge Fleetwood Mac fan, and I love covering Fleetwood Mac, and I really like covering the Rolling Stones. Uh, a lot of songs that kind of the older generation listen to, but really a lot of songs that a lot of my friends like to listen to. I've got a lot of good friends with really nice music taste, and I also learn a lot of new songs from them that I end up covering just because I really like songs that are around that era because I feel like they have a lot of emotion in them. And it's a lot more deep than the pop songs today, in my opinion.
Hmm. And do you cover like Bob Dylan songs, things like that, folk
Yes,
songs?
yes, indeed. I can't say I was an original Bob Dylan fan, but they had a movie come out about him in December,
Hmm.
and that's when I found out about him. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I love all of these songs a lot. I really like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, and also It Ain't Me, Babe. But on my birthday this last summer, I got a harmonica.
Hmm.
So when I watched the movie, I was like, I should start working on my harmonica skills. So I definitely started working on that, and Like a Rolling Stone was my first song with guitar and harmonica.
Well, you are a multi-instrumentalist. What all instruments do you play?
So I actually started in sixth grade by playing the harp in my
Hmm.
orchestra.
Hmm.
Um, so that's where I started learning a lot of my music, and it kind of flourished into learning piano and then guitar and harmonica, and I learned the ukulele, and I just got a mandolin. So I'm starting to work on that a little bit.
Was it hard for you to learn to play the guitar or different instruments?
Well, when I feel like I got such a good advantage learning to play the harp first, because I know that sounds like a crazy instrument that's so like diverse from everything else, but really it has a lot of similarities with almost every instrument I play now because it's stringed, so I can learn stuff like the guitar and the mandolin and the ukulele. But also the harp is basically just the inside of a piano, if
Hmm.
anybody known that. But so it was very easy to learn the piano as well. I guess I don't know if easy is the right word, but I definitely had a huge advantage compared to others that hadn't had any experience in other instruments before.
Well, I guess starting at such a young age, you probably picked up on these things more quickly than, say, someone my age that's still trying to learn to play the guitar. Takes a little while. And
Yeah, yeah. So does my dad. He's the one that got all these guitars for me, but I guess he never really took as much time in enjoying to play it as I did. So
yeah,
um, I yeah.
is there a particular brand of guitar that you gravitate towards that you like the most?
Well, the one I'm holding in my hand right now is a Taylor guitar.
Hmm.
And this is definitely my favorite just because of how I feel like Taylor really makes their guitars very well. And this is also my dad's guitar, but I get to use it now. So, and the cool thing was the serial numbers for Taylor guitars, they have their serial number is their birthday, the first six numbers.
Hmm.
So I got to know that this guitar is only a year younger than me. So it
Ah,
was born on November 4th in 2008.
ah, okay. And what is your birthday? When were you born?
I was born on July 18th in 2007, so I'm 17 years old.
Ah, and do you still go to school?
Yes, I am a senior this year and I'm graduating, and then I am going to Texas A&M.
Ah, okay. And so, what is it about Texas A&M that you like the most?
My dad went to Texas A&M, and I always grew up going to the games. But I think another thing that I really like about Texas A&M is, although people don't really realize it, there's a lot of the music culture behind it. You go to a lot of bars, and there's a lot of singing or bands, and you go to a lot of little cookouts, and they've hired a guitarist to play there. And there's a lot of songs that are kind of built around A&M that they really resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was also a really big pull for me because, I just love music so much, and it wasn't something that I wanted to completely study in college, so I didn't feel the need to go to, like, Belmont or Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something that I wanted to keep pursuing outside of college while I was still in college. So there's a lot of opportunities there that people might not know about.
Yeah. You said that you play bars, you play different venues. Do you do busking now and then?
Every now and then, I think I wouldn't completely say it's busking for me. It's just I play outside and I have a tip jar, but normally those are signed up gigs that I've signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that I have completely, like, I am completely in the culture of busking, because I feel like that's a lot of just people going on a side of a road and playing for people that walk by, thankfully. But I haven't done much of that yet now.
What is the furthest you traveled to do a gig, either here in Texas or another state? How far have you gone to do a gig?
I've performed in Deep Ellum. I just had a fun little concert where I was opening for Kati, who's an amazing performer in the Dallas area as well. But I was there, and also a couple of years ago, I played at Trees in Deep Ellum. I also got to play in Tennessee, which was very fun. On our trip to Nashville, I got to stop in a bar there, and they let me sing. So I'll take that as my furthest I've gone to perform, even though it wasn't exactly a paid gig. But
Yeah. So, what are your goals? Where do you want to be, say, 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I really just want to have a good following of people that really enjoy music for what it is and not for, like, the publicity of it. I want to have listeners that listen to it to understand the meaning of my songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess more in depth, in 10 years, I'd love to be, music is a full-time job of mine that gets me along very well. And I am able to play in bars with people that really want to come listen to me instead of just come and eat,
Yeah. Yeah. So do you see yourself as the next Taylor Swift, maybe, or something like that?
That would be amazing, of course. But, I feel like there's a lot to being that famous that, isn't all entirely that great. I just really like to, have a small group of people that really like to listen to my music,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Yeah.
Do you, where do you get your ideas for songwriting? Where do they come from?
A lot of it stems from personal experiences that I've had. I enjoy kind of using my music and my songwriting to help me get through situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the songwriting aspect comes from a lot of influence with people that I have, people in the music industry that I've got to know very well, like my producer and a lot of my music friends. They give me a lot of good influence about songwriting, and I have, a lot of people to help me. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time, it just, comes from experiences in my life, and I get to kind of write it in my own way that showcases what's going on in my brain through the whole thing.
Do you, or have you ever met someone that you looked up to that was very famous?
Oh, well, I guess, I don't know if very famous is the proper words, but I've met a lot of people that are very influential in the music industry, at least in my area. Like my producer, his name is Joe Phillips. He was the music and sound engineer for Barney and just crazy, and he was the sound engineer for movies like Braveheart and Pocahontas.
Uh-huh.
So very, very influential. I don't know if he's super famous per se, but he's definitely worked on a lot of big projects. And one of my friends who's doing really well right now, her name's Ella Red. Again, not very famous, but I got to watch her career kind of flourish, and she's just building up and getting very far in her music career right now. She's reached over 1 million streams on a lot of her songs, and just has a lot of people that really like her. So, yeah.
Yeah. Which artist influences you the most?
You know, I am, like I said earlier, I am a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. I am obsessed with Stevie Nicks. I don't know if she's the best influence, but I just love her songwriting skills, and in the band, the lead guitarist, Lindsey Buckingham, as well. Both of them are people that I really look up to just as like inspiration for how I should go about writing songs. And when I've watched so many documentaries on Fleetwood Mac and so many like interviews with Stevie Nicks, so they're huge influences for me.
Yeah. Do you do any Fleetwood Mac songs?
Yes, I love to perform Silver Springs on my piano. I play the Rhiannon was actually one of the first songs I learned on piano, and now I start playing it on guitar. And Dreams, and Landslide is another. Landslide was actually my first finger picking guitar song, so I've got a lot of Fleetwood Mac in me.
I was going to ask you, do you strum primarily or do you finger pick? Which one do you prefer?
I think majority of my songs are strumming, but I enjoy finger picking so much. It's definitely my favorite out of the two, because I feel like you can, at least for me, I can add so much more to a finger picking song than a strumming song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it just sounds so much more interesting. Like if I was playing Landslide.
A little louder. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's coming through.
Well,
Yeah.
If I was playing Landslide while I was finger picking, it just sounds so much more interesting than if I was playing while strumming.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah. I am learning to play guitar. I'm strumming. I haven't gotten to finger picking yet. But to me, I find that a little more difficult than just strumming. So is it easier for you to sing and strum or sing and finger pick?
I think the crazy thing is finger picking and strumming is just two different sides that are a lot different from each other than people would think. Like learning to finger pick is so much, it's like a different part of your brain than learning to strum.
Mm-hmm.
But I've grown accustomed to both of them pretty well. So at this point in my life, both of them are about equal in picking and singing, or strumming and singing.
Yeah. Well, also, you're an incredible vocalist. You have an amazing voice. Do you have a voice coach, or are you just learning it on your own?
Yeah, so I used to take vocal lessons at Septine Entertainment Group with Annalisa. She's my vocal coach, and I love her to death. She taught me so much about really just finding my own voice instead of following what the media or like what like everybody wants to hear, and learning more about what I want to sound like, and then that translates to the people and gets them to learn to like it.
Yeah.
So I learned so much about vocal lessons with her, and I haven't been taking vocal lessons lately because I'm focusing more on my producing and just my songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
But Septon Entertainment Group has a great place for vocal lessons, and so does Campbell Crossing Studios, which is where I produced all of my music now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great coach. Her name's Michaela, and she just is a great teacher. And there's so much stuff at Campbell Crossing too, like drum lessons, guitar lessons, producing, and piano lessons and vocal lessons. And you learn a lot there. And they have an open mic night every month that gets you prepared for like performing in front of people. So you get to learn so much stuff there.
Right.
It's great.
Right. Let's talk about your EP and the music that's in your EP. What are the songs, and tell me a little bit about each one.
So the first song, so I'll just list them first. So the first one is Think About You. And then the second one is Sarah. The third one is Left in the Air. The fourth one is Like a Child. And the fifth one is Primrose Lane. And going into writing and producing all of them took around a year to a year and a half. So it took a very long time, but all of them are very interesting. Should I go into detail about?
Yeah, go into detail about each tune.
Yeah, of course. So Think About You, which is the first one in the EP, is I wrote it last summer. And it's kind of about a feeling of wanting to know how another person is doing or what's going on in their life when you really can't because you're no contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
And also the feeling of, I wonder if this person thinks about me as much as I have to think about them.
Yeah.
And I really like that one because it's even though the message might not be the happiest, the tune is definitely upbeat, and it's a fun song to dance to. So that was the first one. We released that before the EP, and then we re-released it with a remastered version, so it sounds better. And then the next one is Sarah, which I wrote before Think About You. I wrote it around a year to a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of about leaving an unfortunate friendship and learning how to live without a person, which is very hard. And it's something that not a lot of people feel like to mention or talk about because, learning to live without someone is just as hard as leaving them because, it's hard to feel like you're like, well, should I come back or should I, you just don't really know where to go from there because, again, it's a lot like Think About You. Like, you don't know what's going on in this person's life and you still want to be with them, but you realize it's just not healthy.
Right.
And Sarah kind of centers around this one lyric that says, "The last time I saw Sarah." And it kind of tells a story about the last memory you have of somebody. Mm-hmm. And then the verses go into what it's like having to live without them. So that one is more deep, I would say.
Yeah.
And then going into Left in the Air. I really like Left in the Air. It's a very interesting song because it has a A7 chord in it, which for all the music geeks, I feel like they'll kind of understand that that's a bit of a different chord. Mm-hmm. Instead of like a major 7, it's just a dominant 7, which I feel like you don't hear that much because it gives kind of a questioning sound, but if you use it in the right way, it sounds really great. And Left in the Air was the first song that I wrote that's in this EP. It's I wrote it, I think, 2 years ago. It's been a while. And Left in the Air is kind of about this feeling of like, again, leaving somebody, but it's also like there is so many feelings that go into leaving someone. Instead of, it's not just hate and it's not just like forgiveness either. There's a lot of stuff in the middle and you don't really know where to go from there. So I feel like the bridge is kind of the best explanation of it. It's like the last lyric in the bridge is, why does the story have to end there? Everything is left in the air. So I feel like that's a very telling lyric for the whole song, which I'm happy about it's in the bridge, because I feel like that's the best place to put all of the explanations of your songs in. That's what Joe, my producer, tells me. He says the bridge is where you kind of wrap everything into one and explain what the song means in just a couple sentences.
Right, right. So do you play primarily just yourself, or do you have a band?
I do not have a band. I have played with bands before and I enjoy it so much. I'm just not very lucky to have all of the people in a band to play with me. But I get along just fine by myself.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever you're playing by yourself, it's a more in-tuned and I guess I'd say you can connect with the audience a lot better, because they get to see just one person instead of having to focus on 5 other people that are playing the same song.
Right.
So I enjoy playing by myself. I mostly just do by myself, though.
When you went into the studio to record your EP, did you have other musicians with you there?
So not in the room with me, but I was very lucky to have Milo Deering, who played live with the Eagles a couple times. He's very cool. He's played with them a lot, and he's a very cool person who's very professional with his instruments. He put a big amount of the stringed instruments on my songs. Like the mandolin that you hear in Like a Child is him. The fiddle that you hear in Primrose Lane is him. And almost every stringed instrument, like the cello and the violin and the high string guitar, is in Sarah and Think About You. So he's got to play on a lot of my stuff. But other than that, it's just me and Joe in the studio.
And the music scene there in the Dallas area or up around where you live, is it very vibrant? Is there a lot of musicians there that you can bounce off of?
I would say there's a lot, but it's definitely kind of hard to find. You have to search a little bit. There is so much talent in Texas and in the Dallas area, but you can't really just find them holding a guitar walking down the street. You kind of have to be in areas that are suited for musicians. Like Campbell Crossing Studios has so many very interesting and very talented musicians there that I've been lucky enough to be friends with. So
yeah, how do you get gigs? Do you solicit yourself out there for gigs, or do people just contact you?
I think it's a mix of both. I work with this organization called Melody of Hope, and they help me a lot with getting gigs in the Frisco area. It's a nonprofit organization that works with musicians all over Frisco, and they are the ones that sign me up for a lot of my very interesting gigs and very good chances and opportunities to kind of promote myself. I also work a lot with my mom as well to find other gigs around the area as well. My mom she's the best manager you could have, because she knows what's best for me, and she signs me up for a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have found otherwise. So it's great.
It's great having parents that support you.
Yes.
So in this area, is there a particular spot that you love to go and play at?
Yeah, I would say I love playing. There's this restaurant called 811.
Mm-hmm.
I play there. I always am playing there during the winter time and during the summer too, but it's kind of hot because I play outside.
Mm-hmm.
But 811 is this great place. It's in downtown Frisco. Um, I love playing there. I'm trying to think of other places. I love playing at the Melissa Fall Festival.
Mm-hmm.
I play there every year for the past 2 to 3 years with my parents that go there because they have a business that they run there. So it's very nice to have that because I kind of get a free way into playing some gigs there
Yeah.
while they're running the stands. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is the biggest crowd you've ever played to?
I sang the national anthem at the Mesquite Rodeo
Mm-hmm.
in front of, I think it was 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Wow.
That was probably the biggest audience that I played in front of. It was very interesting, very nerve-wracking. But I got it through, and then actually that's a really funny story because I get there at the beginning. I'm not really supposed to be going to rodeos that much because I have asthma and I'm allergic to just about everything there is in a rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love them. I used to go as a kid all the time until I started getting my allergies. But I was able to play at the Mesquite Rodeo. And what happens is I am standing backstage and they're announcing all this stuff and all these horses and animals are just running around the arena, just like flying. There's like flags everywhere. And the announcer, it's just all crazy and everyone's screaming. And then the announcer is like, and now for our national anthem, a Haven Victoria. And I'm like, oh goodness, here we go. And then I stand up there and I feel so small in this huge arena. I'm standing in a bunch of probably like horse poop and stuff with my boots. And I sing the national anthem. It works out very well in my favor. And as I am standing there, like waving to say goodbye to the audience, this huge horse that was in the middle of the arena with this jockey on top of it, this cowboy on top of it, he's holding the huge American flag. It was about maybe 10 feet. It was so big. Just zoom maybe 2 feet away from me, like running at full speed right past me back into the stables. Because I guess that was the appeal for the audience. That made it look so much cooler. But I wasn't acknowledged. I wasn't told about this beforehand. So it just kind of ran right in front of me. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, ran over there. But it all worked out. So it's fun.
So when you perform, do you wear like cowboy hats and do you dress up or is it just very casual?
Oh, I love dressing up. I am always running late trying to figure out the outfit that I'm going to wear. I wouldn't say a lot of my things I'm wearing cowboy or like a cowgirl outfit, but for a lot of my country gigs, I'm dressing up with the cowboy hat and the boots. But really, for a lot of my gigs, I try to dress kind of 70s, actually. I have these two very long skirts. One's white and one's blue. And my mom really is starting to get on to me about wearing them so much because I just love them so much because they add so much. And I have these huge belts that I put on. And it's always some random shirt that I found in the back of my closet. And these 70s boots that I absolutely adore that go up to my knees. And I always have either necklaces or some kind of shawl or a headpiece on. So it's always a lot of weight to carry around.
Sounds like you kind of see yourself as a hippie. Is that an influence?
You know, the weird thing is a lot of my songs aren't really that hippie, but my style definitely influences some of that and some, just 70s influences. So yeah, I wouldn't say I am a hippie, but that's definitely a lot of influence in my style.
Yeah. And at 17, I mean, it's like like a dying breed. I mean, I'm 63 years old, so I'm an old hippie, but I'm glad to see that when, the youth sort of embrace that ideal of the 70s, because to me, the best music ever made came out of the 70s, and it's all very lyrical. So that I'm glad to see that that's an influence on you.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's just, yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I just feel like it's so much more deep and more thought out instead of just some kind of pop song that's written so it gets a bunch of views for people to listen to.
Right.
It's the songs in the 70s were written more because people wanted to write beautiful songs.
Right. How would Haven describe herself? How would you describe yourself, not just a musician, but who you are to other people?
Yeah, I am a very strong-minded person who is in love with music. And I try to put music in every aspect of my life. And I try to be as nice as possible. And I'm a Christian girl who really just wants to see the best in herself and see the best in people, I would say.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very highlighted version of myself. I guess I didn't give myself very many bad characteristics, but
Well, if someone wants to grab your EP, what are some places that they can find it?
well, if you want to follow me on Instagram, Haven Victoria Music, or it's the same hashtag on YouTube and TikTok. I post a fair amount of my covers and more information about my originals on there. But if you're just going to listen to some of my music, any place like Apple Music or Spotify or any of the streaming services like Amazon Music, just search up Haven Victoria. And if that doesn't pop up, search up Haven Victoria, yes, comma, this is about you. And I'm sure something will show up then.
Yeah. We'll put all those links,
Yeah,
especially
perfect.
to your website. You have a wonderful website, and there are videos there that people can watch too. We'll put all
Yes.
that below this interview. But do you want, or are you looking forward to maybe one day having a record contract?
Yeah, I think that is something that people have to be kind of careful about. But being signed to a record can give you so much extra boost in your career. So, of course, yeah.
Yeah. But as an indie musician, you have more control over your music.
Yeah.
Which one would you prefer?
Um, I think I really do enjoy having control over my music. So maybe being an indie musician is great just because I get to really kind of hone in on what I want to be released out there.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. Singer, songwriter, beautiful singer. And she now has an EP out there, so you need to check out her music. This is Haven Victoria Music on Instagram, right?
Yes.
And that's how I found you, was on Instagram. And so we'll put the links under here. And Haven, thank you so much for being my guest on my show.
Thank you. This was very fun.
Have you ever been interviewed before?
Yes, only once though.
Oh,
So
okay.
still working on my skills.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And
Yes.
everyone is encouraged, definitely. Check out her music, because I really believe that Haven's going places, and in the future, you're going to hear more from her.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on The J. Michael Show.
Goodbye.